Right, hello and welcome back to another video. We're back with something again a bit different. We did this last season, so we're going to be rating every single Swansea City player's season out of 10, the 2023-24 season. We're only going to be ranking the players who have played 3 games or more. Like, Andy Fisher hasn't really played many games. You've got Nathan Joe on and Nathaniel Ogbeta, players like that who've had, we haven't seen enough to judge them. So yeah, we're only going to be doing it off players who've played at least 3 games this season. So starting off with Carl Rushworth, I believe he's played every minute of every season in the Championship. I don't think he played in the Cup, may have played 1 or 2 games, but yeah, every minute in the Championship. Carl Rushworth, straight up our player of the season, first player in. I mean, for me, I'm going to rate his season, I'm going to rate it a 9 out of 10, to be honest with you, but what about you?
I think, well, yeah, he got player of the season, which is rightly so. I think he's been one of the best keepers in the league this season. I think if it wasn't for him, I think we would have been a lot lower in the table for definite. I thought we would have been probably near where Birmingham are or where they finished. So yeah, he's definitely been our best player. I'd probably agree with you on a 9 out of 10, potentially a 10 out of 10. I don't think he could have done much more than what he did. So yeah, I'll go for a 9 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, and then moving on to Kyle Norton, then been a great servant to the club. This season hasn't been his best season, but he stepped in and filled in when we've needed him. So I'm going to give him a solid 6 out of 10, to be honest with you. Not great, but not bad at all.
Yeah, I'll give him. I'll give him a 7 out of 10, just because obviously he's getting older now, so he's not gonna obviously play as much as he used to. He's been a good club servant. Obviously, he's just recently signed a new deal as well, a new 1-year extension, which is good. We need more leaders in the dressing room, so I think it's been a decent season for him. It was hard for him to get into the team because of the other players we got, but I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, now moving on to Harry Darling then. So in my opinion, over the course of the season, probably been our best centre back. I'm gonna give him a 7 out of 10. As far as our players have gone this season, he's been one of the better ones, and he wins everything in the air. He's been a bit in and out of the team like everyone has really, but yeah, 7 out of 10 for me. But what about you?
Yeah, I'll give him a 7 out of 10 as well. He has definitely been our best centre half, I'd say. He chipped in with a few goals like he normally does. He did that a few times last season. So yeah, I'll give him a 7 out of 10 as well.
Now we're going on to Ben Cabango then. So I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. I thought he started the season very poorly, but as the season went on, he did start to pick himself up again, and he made himself regular in the team. So yeah, for that reason I'll give him a 6 out of 10. But what about you?
I'll probably give him a 7 again. Yeah, like you said, he had a very poor start to the season. I thought he was very poor, but I think since Luke Williams come in, I think he's improved quite a bit, and I feel like he got better over the course of the season. So I'll give him a 7.
Now going on to Nathan Wood then, so probably been one of our, more inconsistent players, to be honest with you, this season. When he's at his best, he's good, but he's not really done anything too special. So for me, I'm gonna have to give him a 5 out of 10. But what about you?
Yeah, with Wood, he's a good player. Obviously, he's still young. I think he's only like 20, 21 at the moment, so he's still got a lot of years left for him to improve. But yeah, I think he's probably been. He hasn't been terrible, but he hasn't been great. Especially when we saw Southampton come in with a 10 million offer and we rejected that. Maybe we should have taken it, but who knows? But I think he will improve. But I'll give him a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to Bashir Humphries then, so the loanee from Chelsea. One thing I will credit him for, I think he was one of the only players who did suit Michael Duff's system. So, credit him for that. He played well under Duff, but then as soon as Williams come in, he didn't really suit the style of play. So for that reason, I'm going to give him a bang average 5, to be honest with you. But what about you?
I think I'm going to go in 5. I think overall he has probably been one of our worst centre-halves out of the list that we got. I think he was also at the Swans one of the highest paid players as well. And I feel like for the way he played, he just didn't really seem like he was worth that sort of money. But, he was decent for a loan player, but I feel like we just didn't really need him in the end, and I thought he had a bit of an average season.
Yeah, now moving on to Josh Key then. So started off the season very well, picked up an injury, and then come back and finished the season fairly well as well. Got a goal against his ex-rivals Plymouth. So yeah, very solid season, and I think I'll probably give him a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, the thing is with Josh Key, I feel like if he was fully fit, I'd probably give him a 9, because I feel like he's been one of our better players this season when he has played. Obviously, it's a shame what injuries can do to you, but think I'll have to give him a 7, but I honestly believe if we had him fully fit for the season, I'd probably give him a 9, because he was quite consistent when he was playing. He didn't really have a bad game, always tried hard, worked hard, so I'll give Josh Key a 7.
Yeah, now moving on to Josh Tyman then. So to be honest with you, didn't really think too much of him when we first signed him. I think it was only when we brought in Luke Williams that we got to see the real Josh Tyman. And he grew on me as the season went on, and one of our better players, so I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10 to be honest with you. But what about you?
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I think he's definitely probably been in the, I'd say, top 3 for best players for Swans this season. And yeah, I think second half of the season, I think he's been immense. I think he's been, a proper workhorse down that left-hand side. I think his link-up play with Jamal Lowe when they're both on that left-hand side was brilliant. He chipped in with a good few assists. I think him and Patterson got the most assists this season. I think they got 6 each. So, and for a left-back, that's not too bad. So, I think I'll give Tyman an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to Harris and Ashby. At the start of the season, was getting a bit of game time. Picked up an injury, and then never really found his way back into the team. So for that reason, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10.
I think I'll give him a 4. To be honest, I think we just didn't really see much of him in the end. We normally tried to play like a Harry Darling over him at right back, or we'd probably somehow play someone else in that sort of position. I remember it was Sam Parker at the start of the season sometimes when Ashby wasn't fully fit. So, bit of a shame because I feel like Ashby's got a bit of potential, but I'm pretty sure he has scored a goal this season as well. I think it might have been against Preston.
Yeah.
But apart from that, he didn't really do anything, so I'll have to give him a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, now we're going on to Azim Abdullah. A bit of a breakthrough season, maybe would have featured more if it wasn't for the injury. But, he looked bright every time he played. He's very versatile, can play left back, right back, in the midfield. So, yeah, from what I've seen of him, a very decent player, so I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10, but, haven't seen enough to give him any more than a 6.
Yeah, I think with Abdullah, I think he's a good player. I think from what we've seen this season, I think he got an assist against Huddersfield, I believe, for Liam Walsh's goal, which is incredible. But that's definitely been a breakthrough season for him. As you said, he played multiple positions, which is obviously good. And I think he's definitely a player we need to keep. Maybe send him out on a loan, maybe to another club, maybe in League One or something. But I think he should definitely get more game time next season for sure.
Yeah.
So I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, and now going on to our last defender then, was Christian Pedersen, went out on loan. I believe he went out on loan to Sheffield Wednesday, actually, another Championship club. A bit of a weird signing that we brought him in. I thought when he played, especially the game against Cardiff, I know we lost 2-0 in that one, but he was probably our best player in that game. Solid player, just, he just doesn't fit our style of play. Maybe under Duff, yes, but under Williams, no, hence why he got shipped out. But, I'm going to have to give him a 5, to be honest with you, but what about you?
I think I'll have to give him, I'll probably give him a 4, same as Ashby, just because we didn't really see much of him. He's got the experience in that, don't get me wrong, but I thought he was going to get a lot more game time. I thought we signed him for a reason. And, he's a player that can play, either left back or even as a left-sided centre-back. So I thought we could have potentially used him more for the experience side, but I'll give him a 4 out of 10 just because of the lack of game time.
Yeah, now moving on to the midfielders then, so our skipper, Matt Grimes. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. He's been solid, consistent, the only other player, as well as Carl Rushworth, to play every minute of every game in the Championship this season for us. Mr. Consistent, so 8 out of 10 for me, but what about you?
I think Grimes has probably been one of our better midfield players. I think I'll probably give him an 8 as well. I think he's been solid for us. He is always consistent when he plays. He sometimes has a bad game, but not too often. He's obviously got a lot of experience now, club captain of course, so I'll give him an 8 out of 10 as well. Yeah,
now going on to Jay Fulton. Been a bit of a poor season for Fulton, a lot of fans getting on his back. I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. I don't think he's been that bad, but hasn't really done anything significant this season, to be honest with you, warrant him getting a higher rating. But what about you?
I think I'll give him a 6. He hasn't been awful, but the thing is, it's hard with these players because obviously they've had to deal with different managers, different styles, and it's always going to be difficult for him. But he always tries his best, but he hasn't been particularly great, so I'll give him a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and now going on to Liam Walsh then. So I'm probably going to have to give him a 4 out of 10, to be honest with you. It seems a bit harsh, but, he's been at the club for some time now and he hasn't really hit the heights. He did get a very good goal against Huddersfield, which I will credit him for, and obviously scoring against Coventry as well. And I think he's been a consistent player. Like last season, for example, I thought he was great, but, this season hasn't really hit the heights. I know he's had a lot of injury, but I can't really see how I can give him any higher than a 4. But what about you?
Yeah, I'll agree with 4 as well. Obviously got 2 goals like you mentioned. Luckily I was there for both the goals actually, and they were both really good. But yeah, as per usual, always injury prone. He was the same last season as well. Barely got any minutes, and same this season really. The thing is, when he does play, which is very rare to see, he normally does play well, but I think I'm glad he is gone, to be honest, because we need players who are going to stay fit in our squad, and he never is, unfortunately. So yeah, I'll agree with you on that one, 4 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to Joey Allen then. Probably going to have to give him a 5 out of 10. Some people might think that's a bit low, but, he hasn't really played. But when he has played, he has impacted the game. But, he's not really, done anything, that special to give him a higher rating, to be honest with you. But, what a servant he is to the club and what a guy. But, yeah, well, what about you?
I think I'll actually give him a 6, to be fair. I think there has been worse midfielders down in this season. I think when he's come on to, normally comes on as a sub, and when he does, he always makes an impact, always tries to slow the tempo down and tries to keep it simple. Obviously he's had injuries as well, kind of like Liam Walsh, which is a bit annoying, but, I suppose it does come with age. But, just like Norton, signed another 1-year extension, so I'm glad he's here to stay, because we need experience. But yeah, I'll give him a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to Charlie Patino then. So I think he's been one of our worst performers in my opinion. I'd probably give him a 5 out of 10. There's been times where, he's picked us up and, got us points, like Huddersfield. Michael Duff's last game got us a point. Obviously Rotherham, I think he scored one off his back. I think it was against Rotherham anyway. So yeah, he has impacted the game, but for his standard, especially when he came in at the start, I thought it was really good, but he never continued that, so I have to give him a 5.
Yeah, I think I have to agree, Matt. I think he's probably one of our most overrated players, in all honesty. The fact that there's Serie A clubs linked to him as well, I think is bananas. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, he's a decent player, but he's not as good as everyone's making out to be. For a pretty average season, I thought. So I think, obviously he was good under Duff, don't get me wrong, but as soon as Luke Williams came in, same with Harrison Ashby to a certain extent, and Bashir Humphreys just never seemed to really get into the team. And in all honesty, I thought we were better without him, to be honest. I know it's quite debatable, but I feel like he is one of the most overrated players that we got, so I'll give him a 5 out of 10 as well.
Yeah, now going on to Jamie Patterson then, I'm probably going to give him an 8.5 out of 10. He's definitely our most improved player this season from last season. Chipped in with quite a few goals from midfield as well. Yeah, never really had a bad performance, to be honest with you, so 8.5 out of 10.
I feel I'll give him a 9 actually. I think he should have the same as well, maybe I'm being a bit too nice, but I will give him a 9. I think he has been a very, very good player. Definitely in terms of ability, probably one of our best players as well. Always chips in the goals and assists. He's a really key player. Yeah, he's just had a good season. He's had to deal with a lot of managers. Obviously when we had Russell Martin, I don't know if those who had a falling out, but he didn't really play. And then Duff started playing him, and he's got the best out of him. Same with Luke Williams as well, and he's been a good player for us this season. So, yeah, I'll give him a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to the last midfielder then, Ollie Cooper. Only real highlight of the season was that goal he scored, which I believe was also against Plymouth. Long range effort. I feel bad for him because he's been he hasn't had as much game time as he would have liked, and there is definitely a player in there. We've seen that last season, but I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. To be honest, you can't really go any higher. But what about you?
Yeah, I think I have to give him. I'll give him a 5 as well. Like you said, just hasn't really played that much. In terms of ability, he is good. Like, I don't know, maybe we could put him out on loan somewhere, maybe for one more season. But yeah, it hasn't been a great season for him personally. But obviously he's still young, still a lot he can improve on, so I'll give him a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to Sam Parker then. So I had a bit of a spell, just before Christmas, and then got that injury. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10, an average 6. He didn't really do much, in terms of being able to give him a higher rating, but for his, for his age, and he's come in and, he's done like a very good job, to be honest with you, beats defenders, goes past them, and, his crossing ability is not that bad either. So, yeah, I give him a 6 out of 10, but what about you?
Yeah, I feel I'll give him a 5 just because he hasn't played as much as some of the other players have. But, a very decent youngster, of course. Maybe we should send him out on loan somewhere to get a bit more experience and potentially get him into the team. But yeah, I'll give him an average 5.
Yeah, now going on to Aimar Gouveia then. He broke through at the sort of end of the season, 5 or so appearances. And same as Parker, I'm going to give him a 6, Didn't really, do much in terms of being able to give him a higher rating, but, standard 6 is very good. And, he did have that chance against QPR, which hit the bar, which would have been amazing if that went in on his home debut. But, 6 out of 10 for Gouveia. But what about you?
Gouveia, I think, same as Parker, I'll give him a 5 as well. Obviously would have loved to have seen more from them. Like you said, only played a little bit towards the end of the season. I'm glad he was given some opportunities because I think he deserves it. But yeah, hopefully we can see more of him next season, but I have to give him an average 5 as well.
Yeah, now going on to Yannick Bolasie then. So I'm going to have to give him a 4 out of 10, to be honest with you, especially for his sort of expectations. 11 appearances, no goals, no assists. He did impact us and, added a bit of pace, but you would have expected his stats to have been a little bit better. I know he's getting on a bit, but, for the player he is, I'm going to have to give him a 4.
I think he's definitely been one of our worst players, especially with the expectation. I'd give him either a 3 or a 4, I'd say, because, obviously all the hype. I think the only good thing about him was the song we made, probably, to be honest. Apart from that, we didn't really see much visibility. Like, he showed some sort of skill. I remember he came on against Leeds, I think that might be his debut. But yeah, he was rubbish, man. He was terrible. Probably one of our worst winners this season. So yeah, I'll have to give him. I'll give him a 3. I think he has been one of our worst players.
Yeah, now going on to Ronald, who we brought in January. I thought he was excellent, for the majority of the season, especially that performance against Cardiff. Probably one of the best individual performances I've seen of any Swans player this season. Absolutely great. Unlucky not to get a goal and unlucky not to get more throughout the season. To be honest with you, I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. I think if we had him at the start of the season, he'd be pushing for maybe an 8, 8.5. But yeah, 7 for me.
Ronald, I think I'll give him. No, you know what? I'll give him an 8 because I think he has impacted us quite a bit, especially in the attacking areas. Hopefully we can keep him for another season. And I know he loves it down here. Obviously we saw him on his debut against Leicester. Came on, made a big impact there. And then I also saw him at Sunderland when I went there. Got 2 goals, alongside Cardiff, probably one of his better games. And really helped us win that game as well. So, been one of our better players, one of our better signings probably of the whole season. So I'll give him an 8.
And now going on to Przemysław Placheta. Probably give him a 6.5 out of 10. He got injured. I think if he played the whole season, it would have been a bit higher. A bit unfortunate not to get any goals. I don't think he got any assists either, which, doesn't look great, like what I was saying about Bolasie. But, the difference is Placheta, he actually, did have a big impact and, he created a lot of chances, put a lot of balls in the box. I think, his end product needs to improve, hence why he didn't score any goals. But, overall, a very tidy standard player for the Championship, so 6.5 for me.
Yeah, I give him a 6. I don't think he's too bad. I think we definitely had worse players than that, no doubt about it. Brought some pace onto the flanks, which we needed. I think he was definitely, he wasn't a bad player at all. It was very a shame that him and Lowe obviously play in a similar position, so it was hard to start both of them in the team. But yeah, I thought he done a decent season. Just a shame his end product just wasn't that great. So I have to give him a 6.
Yeah, now going on to Josh Ginnelly then. Got injured very early on in the season, didn't really get to see much of him, but that Northampton goal was something else really, and that's what he'd be remembered for this season. But yeah, I'm gonna give him a 6.5 out of 10. From what I've seen in that short spell, very, very good. But didn't have enough time to really impact it anymore. But what about you?
I know it seems harsh, but I think I'll have to give him a 4 just because we've barely seen him. He's only played a couple of games, and it's just hard to judge him. Like I know he got that goal against Northampton. Pretty sure he's scored against QPR away as well.
Think, yeah.
So yeah, he got those 2 goals there, which isn't even bad for an injured player throughout the entire season. But I think it's hard to give him a good rating just because he's barely played. So I'll have to give him a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to Liam Cullen then. A bit of a fan favourite, to be honest with you. When everything's going wrong, we've got all these strikers, and when everything's going wrong, he seems to be the one that steps up. I'm gonna have to give him a 7.5 out of 10. I don't think he was amazing, but he was there when he needed us, and he scored in the South Wales derby. and you know what a moment that was. But what about you?
Things with Cullen, I think he has been one of our better strikers. I honestly do. I feel like he's had a decent season. Just like all the other players, he had to deal with different managers and that sort of stuff. I don't think he's been that bad. Some people might just say, oh, you know, we only rate him because he's Welsh, blah, blah, blah. If he was English, we probably wouldn't rate him, but that's not true. I feel like he has been decent. Obviously, there's a lot of room for improvement. We need him scoring a lot more goals than he has done, but I don't think he's been that bad, so I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, next going on to Jamal, though, you know, just like his first spell, will be remembered for, you know, his goal against Cardiff. You know, he's done it again now, 3 goals in 2 games against Cardiff. You know, that was a special moment to cap off the game, and I hope we get him next season. Yeah, very positive season from Jamal, though, to be honest. You know, in and out of the team, but always impacted them, and you know, found a bit of a role as a super sub at the end of the season. So I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10 as well. But what about you?
Yeah, I think I'll give Jamal an 8. I think obviously one of the joint top scorers with you know, with Jerry Yates, who we'll obviously speak about after this one. You know, he's been a very good player. You know, he's still got a bit of pace about him. He scored goals, obviously. And yeah, he's been what we expected pretty much. You know, obviously I would have liked him to have scored a bit more goals. So obviously the first time we had him, I think he got 14. I think in his first season when we first had him. And I feel like this season he has impacted and been one of our better players. So I'll give him an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to Jerry Yates, obviously as you mentioned, joint scorer with Jamal, though. You know, a lot of people might disagree with this, but I'm actually going to give him a 6.5 as well. You know, he's our joint top scorer this season. You know, in a really bad season to be our top scorer, you know, it's something. You know, it's not very easy to do. I know he's a striker, but you know, he hasn't had as much game time as a lot of as you know, Jamal, though, or Liam Cullen, for example. And you know, he was top scorer, scored 15 goals for Blackpool, relegated side. You know, I've always rated Jerry Yates. I think it's just a matter of time. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 6.5. What about you?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a 6, just because I feel like, you know, from what we expected, obviously from what he did at Blackpool, he had a great season there with him and Martino, and I feel like they both come here, and it's just been really hard for both of them to try and fit in the right style, because obviously they're not really used to it. You know, it has been a difficult season for him, obviously, you know, moving to Wales, obviously he's never played here before, he's had to deal with different managers and that, and, you know, I'm sure next season if we keep him, he will improve, and I think he will score more goals. But I think this season it's just been, you know, a bit of a learning curve for him, like a lot of players really. So I'll give him a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, now going on to the last player then, Mikola Kuharevich. You know, not had as much game time as he would have liked, as you know, as much as us fans would have liked. But from what I've seen, looked positive. Obviously, got that goal against Millwall. I'm gonna give him a 6 out of 10, to be honest with you.
You know, it's a bit of a shame with Kuharevich. Like, I would have loved for him to have, you know, to have played a lot more minutes. I think he's a good enough striker. You know, he's pretty much our only target man that we have at the club as well. What was he, 6'5", 6'4", something? You know, I'd love him to get more game time, but if we're not going to play him, we may as well send him out on loan. You know, I think it's really, you know, the amount of money we spent on him for him to not even play really is a bit bizarre, but I think I'll have to give him a 5 just because of the lack of game time.
Yeah, now lastly going on to our manager then, Luke Williams. It's hard to say. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. You know, in the short space of time, he's done very well. You know, he's brought us up the table. He's got some, you know, very valuable points, some results. He's won the fans over. And obviously, you know, most notably that win against Cardiff. And, you know, it just shows how important it is to have a man like that in the dressing room, someone who cares about the club. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. But what about you?
I think I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Like, obviously, we still finished mid-table. I know we were a little bit worse on the Duff. And personally, I don't think Duff was that bad. I know a lot of you will probably disagree on that, but I think Williams, he has improved us slightly, but I feel like there's still a lot more improvement to be done. I think Williams did well in terms of the signings he made, bringing in Ronald, Paqueta, and a few other players as well. And you know, he has impacted us, you know, a lot. Because obviously, like you said, he cares about the club, cares about the fans. You know, he probably knows what the Cardiff game actually means to us because he's been involved in it before. And obviously he has a strong connection to the club, and he wants to get us back to the Prem. So hopefully we'll do it. Hopefully he will do that with us soon. But yeah, I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, once again, obviously a massive thanks for watching this. We'll be back soon with some videos. Hopefully we'll do some Euro content, but if not, we'll see you in the new season. So yeah, once again, massive thanks for all the support, and massive thanks for watching this, and we'll see you in the next one.